What is going on, you beautiful people of the world? Today we're here to talk about one thing and one thing only: how goddamn wrong I am all the time. This time, specifically in relation to Evolution 2019. It's coming up soon. It's going to be my first Evolution. I actually still need to book a hotel. I should probably do that. That's kind of important. Don't want to be stuck without a place to live in Las Vegas in the middle of the summer. It's probably going to be around like 115 degrees. It's nutty there. Fuck the desert. Anyway, moving forward. So recently, I think he's only been doing this for the past 2 years, so maybe I just haven't been paying attention. But Mr. Wizard kind of does like a scoreboard periodically of how many entrants are registered for each game. He ranks the games by amount of entrants. He doesn't tell you how many entrants are in each game. He does do that later after all the registration is confirmed. Then he'll show, like, these are how many people have registered for each game. So I don't have official numbers yet, which means I should probably be waiting 2 weeks to do this. But I don't want to wait 2 weeks. I want to talk about this now. I needed Nate Talks. It's been a minute. So, right now the rankings are Ultimate, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is number 1. Tekken 7 is number 2, which is hype as hell. I wish if it can get up there and get higher than Smash, I'd be a happy motherfucker. Street Fighter 5 is 3rd, Samurai Showdown 4th, Mortal Kombat 11 5th, Under Night and Birth 6th. If that could get up above Mortal Kombat, maybe Samurai Showdown, I'd be hype as hell. Dragon Ball FighterZ is 7th, Soul Calibur 6 is 8th, BBC Tag is 9th, which, you know, I don't need to get into it. I am very surprised, before we get into why I'm wrong and why I'm a dumbass, very surprised and honestly a little disappointed. Actually, I shouldn't say I'm surprised. After playing it, I'm not surprised. But I am definitely disappointed that Soul Calibur 6 is so low. Like, that game just came and went with a whisper. Like, every other fighting game that's come out, even Samurai Showdown, I'm seeing stuff posted all over Twitter. I'm seeing stuff in various places like, oh shit, what's this game? This looks interesting. This looks cool. This looks fun. This looks hype. None of that for Samurai Showdown. None of that for Soul Calibur 6. It just, legitimately, it got released. Nobody said anything. It kept going. Nobody said anything. And so, like, I'm not surprised that it's so low on the rankings, but it's such a massive disappointment, especially after how big Tekken 7 was and how big it still is. Tekken 7's number 2. I mentioned during last year's that it's one of the only examples of a game getting more entrants year over year than at EVO. That's not something that really happens. Like, we all saw the massive hype for Street Fighter 5. Its first year, it had over 5,000 entrants. Granted, a ton of them didn't show up, but still, had a ton of entrants. The next year, it dropped to what, like 2,700, something like that? Damn near half the number, if even less than half the number, I can't remember. It dropped again the next year, and judging by the fact that it's 3rd right now at EVO, it's probably going to drop again this year. A little bit lower. It's still high up there, but it's going to drop more. Tekken 7, it may see some more growth again, which is amazing. It got me. I entered it. I'm not going to play. I'm just going to get DQ'd because I don't know how to play the game, but you best believe that is a game that I firmly believe is worth supporting. And so I did enter as a pop monster just so whoever does win it, whoever gets top 8 or whoever gets paid out at EVO gets some of that. That's a game that 100% deserves it, even if I have never dedicated myself to playing it in the first place. So, like, that's really good for Tekken 7, but it's so bad for Soul Calibur in general and for its future. I don't know what its sales figures were. I don't know if it's considered a disappointment, but it's just like, if that game was not at EVO, if I was not staring at the name of that game right now, I would forget that it existed. Straight up. I own it. I bought it on Steam. I played it for like 2 hours, and I never touched it again. And the thing is, too, is it's like, because games can be memorable for different reasons. Obviously, the one you want it to be memorable for is for being a really solid, fantastic game. It can also be memorable for being bad, but in a good way. Like, Mimi bad. That's good. But it can also be memorable because it's terrible. Soul Calibur 6 is in that shitty middle ground where it's nothing special, but it's also not bad, and so it's just not memorable. There's nothing impressive about it at all. And so it's just something that you forget exists. And that's a damn shame for Soul Calibur 6, because like I said, after the impression Tekken 7 has left and continues to leave, like, I thought Tekken 7 and Guilty Gear were going to stay at EVO, like forever, basically, until their next editions came out, because, at least from my viewpoint, those two games have been the hypest games at the tournament since they started being at the tournament. Like, the amount of attention they brought to the games, the amount of hype they brought to the tournament in general, like, you can't manufacture that. That's something that just has to exist. The game has to provide that for you, and those games provided it. And so that's why I thought that those games would be there forever, which transitions me into my first point of me being completely wrong. I stated last year that there was no way in hell BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle was going to make it back. There was no way, because I personally did not see a world where that game could outcompete Guilty Gear. To be fair, it is there this year. Guilty Gear is not. That, you know my feelings about that. I don't need to go in depth about that. But I was very wrong about that, and so I'm willing to own up to it. Now, I get why it's here again, especially because they fucked it up last year, right? Like, that was a big controversy for last year's EVO, was that they ran the entire tournament 2 out of 3. They breezed through it. They weren't sure if the format should be 3 out of 5 or 2 out of 3, and so they stuck on the safe side and they ran it 2 out of 3, and everybody hated it. And then obviously the finals, Ruby, Gordeau wound up winning, so that made a lot of people mad on its own, but that's not the fault of the tournament. But still, so it's kind of like a way for them to redeem themselves in regard to this game and kind of say that they gave it a fair chance. So I understand it on that level. Now, I'm not saying that's the reason why they're doing it. It's entirely possible that they believe that that game is the best option for the kind of game that it is. Like, obviously, that's going to be kind of like the quote-unquote anime slot for EVO. And so that's why Guilty Gear's gone. BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle is in there. I'm saying that. We have Under Night and Birth. Anyway, moving forward. After it being we'll have to see the actual numbers. Like, for all I know, Smash Ultimate could have 8,000 entrants, Tekken 7 could have 7,000, and you move down and BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle winds up having like 2K. I don't know. Very unlikely that that's going to happen, but since he's not providing numbers, that could very well be what it is. Still, remarkably unlikely, and I have to admit that I'm not gonna. You've heard me shit on BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle enough. I don't need to continue going over it. I'm beating a dead horse at this point. You know I don't like the game. You know how you feel about the game at this point. I'm not up here preaching, trying to convince anybody to convert anybody to my point of view. So, moving forward, the other thing that I was wrong about, Dragon Ball FighterZ is the 3rd lowest game in entrance. That's insane to me. Because that was the hype last year. That got, as far as I'm aware, the most viewers out of all the games that were played at EVO. Its grand finals had the most viewers in comparison to all the other games that were there. It certainly brought the hype. There were all kinds of stories because Sonic Fox managed to win the tournament. And so I thought, like, this is huge for anime fighting games, because this is going to continue being one of the biggest fighting games in the world for a long time to come, because it has the Dragon Ball Z name behind it. It has all kinds of hype behind, like, it has a lot of public figures, a lot of names that people are very well aware of and want to pay attention to playing it. And it just had all the momentum in the world. And somewhere along the way, I haven't been paying attention because, again, you know how I feel about that game. It stuttered, and it slipped, and it's just faded. And now it's 7th, underneath Mortal Kombat 11 and Under Night and Birth. I love me some Under Night and Birth. You know how I feel about that game. It is my favorite fighting game out on the market right now. But, in terms of mass appeal, that game is leagues below Dragon Ball FighterZ. So far below it. And yet, it currently has more entrants at EVO. That's insane to me. I thought Dragon Ball FighterZ was going to continue. Like, I thought it had a chance to be the main game at EVO. And, that is most certainly not the case. I actually need to... Oh, here it is right here. Oh, it's not part of it. BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle is a Sunday game? Man, give that to NIST. I actually didn't know that. I thought it would be Dragon Ball FighterZ. Because, like, Smash, Street Fighter V, and Tekken, those all, like, obviously those are going to be Sunday games. Like, there's no question about that. But Cross Tag Battle is a Sunday game? Son. That's a disappointment. Okay, anyway. That actually is kind of crazy. The lowest entry game is a main stage arena game. I'm actually scared to see crowd shots. Is anybody even going to be there? I'm not going to be there, personally. Like, I'm not staying for Sunday. I'm not going to the arena Sunday. I think it would have been worth it to go for Tekken. I think that would have been an experience worth it. But, like, that would mean I'd have to have one more day in the hotel, one more day of, like, spending stuff. Like, I saved myself a few $100s by just leaving on Sunday and watching from home instead of sticking around for the arena. But, like, I can't, it really is legitimately going to scare me. If there's even going to be anybody in the crowd for that game, that's not going to be a good look. But anyway, let's talk about the big one, Under Night In-Birth. I need everybody to just go ahead and spend money. Even if you're not going to go, just spend money and enter the game. So you can bump it up ahead of Samurai Showdown. Get it, and Mortal Kombat 11. Get it in the top 4. Bump it up above Street Fighter if you really, make your friends do it, your parents, your family. Just make them all enter it. Say it's for charity or something like that. It kind of is, honestly. You're entering a pot that an anime fighting game player is going to win. That's essentially charity with how much money they usually make from playing these games. You may as well just call it charity. Fuck it. It's for a good cause. But still, I'm super hyped for that. That's the one that I'm the most hype about. Unfortunately, I still haven't. I can check real quick, but I assume nothing's changed. I still have not heard back anything regarding commentary and a yes or a no. Unfortunately, makes me sad. Having that thought in the back of my head. Nope, still nothing. Nah. I just want to know one way or the other. Like, let me know. Is it a yes? Is it a no? Can I get hyped? Can I get disappointed? Where am I at right now? Just give me one or the other, and I'll be a happy little boy. But yeah, I can't wait. I really legitimately can't wait. Hopefully I don't go 0-2, but it's entirely a possibility. I can't fucking wait. And I'm going to be there. I'm going to be able to be there at the finals since it's not a Sunday game. It's disappointing that it doesn't get its time to shine in the main stage, especially if it does wind up being true that there will be an announcement for the game. That would suck. I mean, that would be amazing if that game was it was on the main stage on Sunday and it had a massive hype announcement for it and it got all that momentum going. Like, oh, that would be awesome. But still, hopefully there will be an announcement for it because there have been a lot of kind of like, there's not been any official confirmation, but there have been like job postings that went up for a new fighting game from French Bread. There's a new, was it Korea? I want to say like a ratings board. I can't even remember what the hell it was. It was another absolutely ridiculous name. I can't remember what it was. Let me just check this out. New Under Night In-Birth. Let me just go for that. Where is it? Under Night In-Birth EXE Late CLR. Is that real? Oh, it's Taiwan. There it is. Yep. Under Night In-Birth EXE Late CLR. Jesus Christ. How are you even supposed to say that? Unibel. They gotta make something you can actually say, man. Come on. Japan, please. But yeah, that's Mortal Kombat 11, whatever, don't care. Apparently a lot of other people, like from what I've heard, a lot of people aren't particularly happy about it in comparison to Mortal Kombat 10. I shouldn't say a lot of people. All of my information in regard to how people feel about Mortal Kombat 10 comes from Eris, and he doesn't care about it. So, obviously everybody doesn't care about it. Samurai Showdown though, number 4, making a strong entry. First showing for an SNK game that's really good. We'll see how many people actually show up, because that happened with King of Fighters 13 its first year too. There were a ton of entrants. To be fair, it also had, if you entered the tournament for King of Fighters 13, you got a free t-shirt, which I do not believe is the case for Samurai Showdown. But so like there were a ton of people, even in like the small fighting game circles that I was a part of back then, a bunch of those people never played King of Fighters 13, never even had an interest in playing it, but they still entered the tournament just so they could get the free t-shirt. So that bolstered its numbers quite a bit. But the same thing happened its first year, and then its second year it dive bombed mad hard, which is quite a shame because King of Fighters 13 is one of the best fighting games that's ever been made, in my opinion. Unfortunately, it had a lot of problems, and so it didn't manage to stick around. But if Samurai Showdown can keep its train going, which I don't know. I don't know if it will, but we'll see. I would really like it to. I want SNK to get a big win. I wanted King of Fighters 14 to be a big win for them, but it wasn't for a whole large host of reasons. And so if Samurai Showdown can become that hit for them, that propels them further forward, further toward Capcom, and kind of like pushes some degree of competitiveness that makes them wake the hell up and be like, oh shit, we got to step up our game in regard to fighting games. Like, we've been killing it everywhere else fighting game wise. We could not have possibly been lazier and like less effective in pushing the medium that we've been in, you know, with Monster Hunter, with Resident Evil, that kind of stuff. If they can start putting the same amount of effort into their fighting games that they put into those, whoo, shit, the world's going to be in a good spot fighting game wise, and I'll be a happy camper. But that's not the case yet. And so what they need is like real, legitimate, strong competition. And Tekken, despite the fact that it is such an amazing game and it's one of the best fighting games on the market right now, it's a 3D game. It's not pulling in the same kind of players. They need a strong 2D competitive fighting game to push them, to potentially take their spot. And nothing's been able to yet. But, I mean, Dragon Ball FighterZ basically took more or less the formula of Marvel and massively outsold it. It didn't deserve to. Well, I shouldn't say it didn't deserve to. It definitely deserved to. But, like, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite did not deserve to flop as hard as it did in terms of what the game could have been. Like, that game could have been multi-million, like tens of millions of copies sold potentially. It had all the momentum of Avengers behind it. It had all the momentum of Capcom starting to kind of get its shit together, and attention was kind of on them, like, oh shit, maybe they're getting their game back. And then it came out and it flopped harder than I've ever seen something flop in terms of what it could have been. And it just wasn't there. And so, like, they need something to just push them. And that's why part of me is really disappointed that none of the other, like, big company tournaments, like, everybody now is making their own tournament for their game, right? Mortal Kombat has one now. Injustice had one. I don't think they have it anymore. Arc System Works is running, you know, like the their own tournament for BlazBlue and Guilty Gear. Is Unist in there? No, Unist is not in there. It deserves to be in there, but it's not in there because technically they only published the game. They didn't actually make it themselves, so it's kind of understandable, but also disappointing. Namco Bandai has their own Dragon Ball FighterZ World Series. They have Tekken 7 Worlds going on. Smash is off doing their own thing. Like, I wish any of those, not Smash. Smash has its own fan base, but like that's not at competition with anybody. Smash is kind of just its own entity existing within EVO to make EVO more money. Like, Smash does not need EVO. EVO doesn't really need Smash, but it helps it a lot. But in terms of like all the other tournaments, like the Tekken 7 Worlds, Dragon Ball FighterZ, the Arc System Works tournament, all that stuff, none of them have come close to the attention and hype and money and everything put into Capcom Pro Tour. None of them have come close. And I think they need to start getting bigger and bigger and hyper to push Capcom to actually kind of wake up and understand, like, we can lose our standing. Capcom Pro Tour could fade away if these other tournaments become bigger and better and actually have games worth paying attention to behind them. So I'm hoping, like, more and more games getting more attention, being shoved further forward, pushes them to understand, like, we need to do better. We're not doing enough right now. I hope. Cross my fingers, because I want to see the best for all the fighting games. I don't want a game to come out like BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle and hate it. I'm not looking for that. I don't want Dragon Ball FighterZ to release and to hate it. I don't want Street Fighter V to release and to hate it. But I do. It's unfortunate, but I do. I don't want those things to happen. I want them to come out and to be a new, best fighting game that I can talk about the way I talk about Unist, or the way I talk about King of Fighters 13, or the way I talk about Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I want them to be games that I love, that I can spend hundreds of hours on, and just keep playing and playing and playing, and hoping that they keep pushing further forward and improving the formula and improving their own games. That's what I want them to be. That's not what these games are. And so, like, I feel like Capcom needs that competition, that extra push to understand, like, there are other companies out there that can take this from us. And unfortunately, nobody else is there yet. But I want them to be. Because competition breeds excellence. It's pure and simple. Like, if you have somebody that is pushing you, you're going to do better. Inevitably. Or you're going to crash and burn. One of the two. But most of the time, you're going to do better. You're going to improve. You're going to understand that you need to do better. That's really it. So, hopefully somebody can come out with something that can push them that extra mile. And make them understand that, like, an amazing product basically pays for itself. But we'll see. So that was it. I just wanted to talk for a little while about Evo. Just say sorry for being wrong. People get wrong sometimes. It's okay. It's okay. Just own up to it. Understand that nobody is infallible. Nobody's omniscient. Just understand. And improve. And do better. So with that being said, because obviously I've learned from my lessons, ain't no way in hell BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle is going to be Evo 2020. Bitches.